Hello, beautiful friends. I just wanted to invite you to drop into the heart with me for a moment for this message. It's a bit of a heavy message, but it is something that we're going through that is very, very important in our world today, in our circumstances today. So if everyone could just join me in dropping into your heart and breathing, just feel your heart glowing. Emanate that beautiful love out to everyone else watching right now. Ah, that feels so good. And as I read the following message, I want you to practice being the observer of me reading it and not be you watching it. If you can try that, okay? So that means kind of detaching from yourself, your personality, putting yourself back here and looking over your shoulder at you watching me read this. I know that's a bit of a stretch. If you have to watch it, watch that part a few times before you catch on to what I'm saying. Do so, because it's important. Because when you're in the observer mode, which we can all do because we all have souls and we're all one with God, when we're in the observer mode and we're only observing us in what we're doing and what we're saying, then we're essentially transmuting all that we do and we say, including everything that I'm about to read and, everybody involved. So we're transmuting at the same time. We're turning everything into love in doing so. So that's why I'm asking you to do this. Okay. So I got an email from a church, a new agey type of church, and I'm not going to reveal the name of the church because I do care about these people. And I have heard good things about this church in the past. And it would be lovely if they, yeah, we all just have so much, we all have so much transforming to do, all of us on different levels and in so many different ways. So no one's lost in this, guys. I get more and more calls all the time of people waking up to what's going on in our world and being completely alarmed by it all. And they're just like, I can't believe that I was treating people like that. And I myself, I will explain when I get done with this email, but I myself was very much like this person who wrote this. Okay. All right. You first started to get into QAnon because of Corey Good. Watch his disposition on court on YouTube recently. He claimed a lot of what he said was made up. Okay. Please take this as an energy lesson, and get back to the Amy you were before 2020. Okay. Before you got into following the psychological and energetic warfare created by the Illuminati types of people, Putin, Bannon, that is part of the Q current movement. In the past, the Q was like Hitler and the like. Start over and get back to yourself. Don't be sad. People have been praying for you. You will do fine. Clear your head. I'm laughing at you guys. This is just all right. And while I was reading this, God said, they know not what they do. They know not what they do. Okay, so I'll show you a bit of my awakening to what's really going on. I know that apparently this group is still watching me sometimes. So I'm talking to this group as well as anyone else who's following me who still thinks that the shots that they're giving people are okay and they're safe, or that think that there's yeah. Pretty much if you believe that the shots are safe, then you're who I'm talking to. Okay. All right. Here's why I say this. All right. So here's what happened to me when this first started to happen, the 2020 thing that you're talking about. I got scared. I bought masks. I bought sanitizer. I got out my air filter because I have an air purifier. I got that out. I had a hand sanitizer in my car. I had a mask everywhere I went. I, went grocery shopping for a bunch of stuff and I had my mask and I was scared when I was looking at other people. I was like, I don't want to infect them. At first it was like, oh, I don't want them to infect me. And then it was like, oh, that's right. They're teaching us that, the rumor is, or what they're telling everybody is that we are actually protecting them. So we're really looking out for them. And I remember there being this news clip or this clip that I saw of these teenagers partying on the beach, just having a blast, and them being shamed for being a disgrace to everyone else because they're spreading disease, they're keeping it going, they're keeping the disease alive, kind of thing. I was pretty scared. I bought into it. I really did, guys. But somebody, thank God, whoever you are out there, if you're the one who did this, please tell me, email me and let me know that you were the one who did this, because I am indebted to you. Somebody sent me an email to watch a movie that's over on rumble.com, and it's called Fall, and then the next word is of, and the next word is the, and the next word is CABAL. So it's a series. There are many of them. The one that I watched first, that was the real life opener, was about 4 hours long, 3 or 4 hours long. And I kept an open mind. I didn't know who the person was that sent it. So I didn't know, I didn't know what they were about to tell me. They just said, Amy, you've got to see this. So I was like, okay, I'll take a look. I want to know more information about what's going down right now, because I was scared. And when I watched it, obviously I was shocked, but there was so much proof in it that you couldn't put your blinders back on after watching that. You just couldn't. You couldn't argue it, and then I ordered a book, a very good book that I would highly recommend to anybody who still, is still in the other camp, as they call it. There was a book called Hollywood Propaganda, and it is a red and black book. Hollywood Propaganda. That was the next thing that I took a look at, that just, I realized that they made up the word conspiracy theorist, or the phrase conspiracy theorist, back in the day of JFK Jr., I guess. And no, JFK. It was way back when that whole thing happened. That's when they coined the phrase, because they were trying to cover up what they were about to continue to try to do to us. And they've been doing what that we've been working on this for, like, I don't know, hundreds of years. This has been in effect and been going on behind the scenes, and we didn't know it. There's a whole Luciferian culture that we didn't know about. Our neighbors could be them. The people who come to our church could be them. The people who, like, people in the grocery store could be them. They know how to act like normal people. And these Luciferians have been in control of the media. They've been in control of everything that we watch, or listen to, like radio. They've been involved in sports. They've infiltrated every area, and they are the real Nazis. They really truly are Nazis. So part of this psychological game, even as you describe, is that these people who have infiltrated, they say and they project onto other people what they are actually doing. So, and the reason that I've figured this whole thing out as to who is who, because that's what the whole thing is about, is flipping things around on you, is I got on rumble.com. I got on places that were being censored because I wanted to look at both sides, because I'd heard enough of this stuff, so I wanted to go see what these guys were saying. And there was so much proof and evidence over here and none of it over there. These guys all were saying the same thing, like parrots or robots, and all these guys. And these guys would change the way they looked. I don't know if you guys have noticed that. News people, celebrities, any famous person you look back at, they've probably changed the way they look. That's because a lot of them are clones or dummies, or they have stand-ins, things like that. I know this is all really hard to believe, and nobody knows about it. That's why like a quarter of the population will not get the shot, is because the shots are incredibly dangerous and they're killing people, and they're not telling you that. It's the exact opposite of what they're saying. So that's why we refuse. That's why we won't do it, is because we're trying to protect our children, or we're trying to protect human beings from being, this is somewhat of a Holocaust. I don't mean to scare you. That's not my intent. In fact, that's another thing that you can check in terms of what's the truth. The Bible even talks about what are the fruits. Look for the fruits, right? Are the people that you hang with judging and being angry and being violent even? That's not good fruit. That's rotten fruit, you guys. But are you hanging around people who are trying to help and have compassion and be loving and bridge the gap and bring people together? Those are the people you want to be hanging with. And there's not going to be very many of them in our world right now, unfortunately, because they're all falling for the brainwashing that's happened over these hundreds of years. So turn off your television. Don't read the news. They are telling you lies, nothing but lies. They throw some truths in there just to seem convincing. These guys are pros at what they do, but it is not the truth. You have to go searching for the truth. You have to go look for the truth. And you have to do research. You have to take a look at whether things are really true, and don't just listen to anything. Another thing that's very dangerous right now is drinking any kind of water other than making your own distilled water at home, or reverse osmosis, because they're putting venom in our water. They are. And some people, even the people who believe that the shots are not safe, and they understand that part, some of these people still don't. They're like, there's all this division within all the different areas, just like in churches. They did that on purpose, by the way. They developed churches as well. So it's all this indoctrination going on at all these different levels. So then you have, even these guys, some of these guys have been convinced themselves that there's not venom in the water. But I've seen a hell of a lot of proof about that. And I'd be happy to give you this. I'd be happy to share some videos with you, or get you in touch with somebody who could, or, whatever it takes. I'm happy to help, because I really want everybody to, it's not about attacking. It's not about going up against anybody. In fact, it's the absolute opposite. We all need to come together and help one another and lean on one another, and just be willing to have an open heart and an open mind about what's going on, because it is very frightening. It's very frightening to think that they've been plotting all this time, to get rid of us. The biggest question that I asked on this journey is why. So I would encourage you, and you find out why when you watch that video that I referenced earlier. You find out why. So start figuring out why. If conspiracy theorists are actually telling the truth, which they are for the most part, and even like I said, we've talked about this in the Americans in Action talk, but there's those who are awake and who are very afraid, and then there's those who are awake and they're really trying to heal themselves, and they're trying to help save their family and their friends and everything like that. So there's all this division going on even within this. And then there's division going on even within that. It's all divided, and it's all purposeful. It's all happened to us for the Great Awakening to happen. Now, what is the Great Awakening about? Well, we're ascending. We are going to higher levels of consciousness, but there's a separation happening. Those that are completely fear-based and can't get out of that are going to experience their own hell. And then those who are full of faith and they want love to happen and they are staying in their heart-centered space as best they can. They're healing, they're letting go, they're forgiving people who attack them. Those people are going on a path and they're going to see heaven. So we're going to heaven and hell. And it's going to be in our 3D, as long as we're still not to the 5D, but in our 3D experience, we're going to see one or the other. Now, they're all in these different divided dimensions within the earth. So we could have a little bit of overlapping too. You know, as we're raising in vibration going up to the 5D, we'll probably see some of the scary stuff that's going on over there, but it's not going to touch us. So stay on the right timeline by staying in a positive, loving, compassionate, kind vibration. And the most important thing to remember through this time also is do not attack other people. Mind your own business. Take personal responsibility for yourself. Because if you spend time, you know, examining the sliver in everybody else's eyeballs and you're not taking care of the plank in your own, you're going to go to hell. And my version of hell is basically all the things that you fear coming to fruition because you're making it happen, because you're manifesting it. That's hell. So those things that you're fearing, you're going to cause more of if you stay in that separation mentality. You know, thinking of a group of these people, 30 something, you know, there's like 30 some people who are, to think that they're focusing on me, all this hatred and anger and wagging a finger in judgment. God's not happy about that. God is not happy about anybody acting that way. This is a time of forgiveness. This is a time of you know, learning and relearning and growth. And, you know, some beautiful things are coming up ahead, you guys, not scary, bad things. Just like the Bible says, I have plans to prosper you, not to harm you. He's talking to his people. He's talking to the people who are coming from love. So, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. Hopefully you'll do some research. Those of you who have been kind of like, what are you talking about? That's no, you're a conspiracy theorist. Anybody who's been like that, listening to this, hopefully you will get the book Hollywood Propaganda and you will watch that movie that I referenced earlier, and you will really, really try to take it in. Don't be defensive about it. Don't try to argue it. Because even a lot of books you've read, if you've thought you've read books by somebody, some kind of leader who put out a book about what a saint they are and how wonderful they are, you know, these books have been altered. These books have been made up by those same bad people who are trying to make them look good when they're actually bad people. The nefarians, the nefarians. And you should also probably know that there are good guys behind the scenes. They're like the Knights of the Templar, something like that. There are some good guys who are working behind the scenes, and they are actively, I would say, they're saying that, when I say they're saying, that means spirit or God is talking to me, and they're saying that they have most of this under control. What percentage? Like 87% is under control. And it's not going to happen, but they have to let some of the scary stuff continue to play out, so that you guys will finally see that it's ridiculous. So if you're attacking me, you haven't seen enough ridiculous stuff, I guess. You haven't seen all the contradictions. You haven't seen that all the reporters are saying the same damn thing. You haven't seen that they're lying. You haven't even done any kind of research. You're just like a parrot, just like them, just repeating what they're saying. You know, just because your neighbor believes it, or just because your friends or your family or whoever else believes it, just because you're all saying the same stuff doesn't make it true. You know what I mean? You know, dare to be different. Dare to do your research. Dare to look into it. Dare to have an open mind. It's time to be courageous and brave right now. And it's time to say, you know what? Maybe she's right. She might just be right. And I don't have to be scared of it. You know, I had PTSD. I understand being frightened, but we have to be aware of what's going on right now, not be scared of it, like transmute it, from that awareness state. Hopefully you're staying in that state right now, listening to this, because that's what's going to help us. And we are to gently and firmly stand our ground, gently and lovingly say no to the madness, say no to those who are trying to invoke fear, say no to those who are trying to pit us against each other, say no to anything that isn't love or compassion or about pro-life, you know? And I'm not talking about abortion. I'm just saying pro-life, meaning all of it, you know, not anything in specific. So can we please come together? Can we please discuss these things openly and honestly, without our defenses up, without getting angry, and without having to be right? But, you know, I mean, now I'm kicking myself that I didn't wake up sooner. I thank God that thing in 2020 happened, because I had so many opportunities all through the years, and I ignored it, very much like you guys that sent me this. Like I just would get so defensive and angry and think, oh, these people, blah, 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 you know. I understand. I do. But if I could, you know, go back to myself back then, I'd be like, Amy, ask them why. If you get the chance to talk to a friend or a family member who knows these things and you have just kind of poo-pooed it, go back to that person and say, why do you think that? Why do you believe that? How did you come to that conclusion? Not out of defensiveness, but just curiosity. Ask them to show you a video. Ask them to share what they know. Ask them what kind of proof they have. And so that you can also see, you know, so that you can be like, because the other side doesn't have any proof, because there is none. And if they have any kind of proof, it's usually something that's like totally been computer generated, you know. And you can tell you know, when you examine both sides and what they have as proof and whatnot, it's just, it's pretty, I don't know. A lot of the stuff over here is just, I'm not saying left or right now either. It's not even a political thing. You know that you know truth because it feels, you just feel it. You just feel it, and it's not fearful. It's like, oh, that's going on. Whoa. And all of a sudden you have all these epiphanies. Oh my gosh, that makes sense, and that makes sense, and that makes sense now. It all starts to kind of piece together like a puzzle. And you start going, whoa. Oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. That's how it starts to feel. And you start figuring out more things and more things and more things and more things and more things. And it just, you know, once you open your heart, God will show you the truth and keep showing you all these little puzzle pieces to come together. So let's go forward in Christ consciousness and love. Let's go forward and embrace one another and have these honest conversations we need to. And praying for somebody, like this group praying for me, they obviously don't know that praying something against somebody's will is black magic. So this church is doing black magic on me by praying for me. And it's the same thing that the nefarians are doing, trying to trap us and trick us and do all that they're doing. So you're being just like that by praying for me if it's not what I want. So God wants us to honor each other's free will. God wants us to be honest and authentic with each other. God wants us to have open hearts and open minds and to be forgiving. So if you're listening to the news, then the news is saying, this is outrageous. You should be so angry. It's them that are making us sick. All that stuff that got me scared in the beginning, that's the devil. Okay, that's evil. If it makes your heart race and makes you scared, it's a lie. That's how you know. Love is gentle. Love is clear. You know, I talk truth on my channel, but I'm not coming from a place of be afraid and run and hide. You know, it's okay. Now we understand and we can take precautions and we can do certain things to put the mask on ourselves in the, the air mask on the airplane, before we help our children, our neighbors, our parents, our friends. We do have to take care of ourselves, and we have to take certain precautions and stay away from certain things that are full of poison and things like that. There are a lot of foods full of poison and everything too. Things that give us cancer. That's why there's a huge outbreak of cancer right now. It's because they're putting it in our food and everything. Our food, the air, everything they can think of. It's coming to an end, though. It is going to come to an end, you guys. But unfortunately, there are going to be a lot of people injured or that have died through this time. And then a whole heck of a lot of people also being fired and or executed and or put in prison and or sued for the damages. But that's to come. And there will be restitution for this. So do not fear, and know that God is in charge. And the Great Awakening is happening more and more all the time. And like I said, I get more and more people who come to me and they're shocked to find out the truth. So turn off that TV. Turn off that TV. Don't listen to your friends and family who all say the same stuff over and over and over again. Learn something new. Find out something new. Go to rumble.com and poke around. Put in words like poison in food, or toxic water, or just watch. If you watch that video I told you about in the beginning, then you'll have all kinds of things to start looking up. But places that aren't being censored, and that's also why they're censoring everybody. It's not because they're lying, it's because they're telling the truth. Think about it. A lot of this makes common sense. Of course, a bully isn't going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you, hey, they're lying to you, when the other one's lying to you. But who's really coming from a place of love? Who's trying to unite? That's the one you want to listen to. That's the one you want to follow. Not the one who's trying to divide and get everybody angry and worked up and scared. And they actually feed off that energy. Literally, they feed off that energy. Just like in Monsters, Inc., they feed off of people's fear, and they control them that way too. So I am going to offer up a blissing for everyone to help them to, if you want to stick around for this part, feel free. If not, that's okay too. But my blissing is going to be off. My light language blissing is going to be offered up to help anyone see the truth. Or you could just pray to God, please help me to see the truth in all things. That's all you've got to do, really. God, please help me see the truth in all things, and you will be shown. Believe me, I've prayed that a lot, and I've seen a lot come from it. So it's going to help you see that, and it's going to help you digest it, and it will help you as best I can, and within your own free will, be in the present moment holding hands with God. And be in yourself. That's yourself. That's your true self. Is when you're in the present moment and you can feel the sensation of aliveness in your body. That's when you see the truth, and that's when you can see things clearly. So I'm going to help with all of that. If you just listen to this blissing, it is going to be just pure love and support of you wanting to know and wanting to see the truth right now. Okay. All right. Oh, I should say real quick too. There is in terms of, I mean, they're just looking back and reading that letter. I should say that there's not one lick of truth in it. There's nothing in it that's true. I don't follow Q. I know what Q is, and you probably don't, because you probably only listen to what the news tells you, which is totally made up and far from the truth. And if you Google anything, the Google is lying too, because Google's all part of it too. Yeah. So you really do have to go to different places to find out what's really going on behind the scenes. But anyway, I don't follow Q. I hear about stuff that's said. I don't really know anything about Q. Corey Good, could care less about Corey Good. I've never been any kind of follower of his. I've heard a few of his talks, a few of his videos, and that's it. So I certainly didn't wake up from Corey. Okay. I told you the way that I woke up. So, and about the other stuff, there's just the, I always, whenever I get feedback, I look for the truth in it. I look for, is there really something, is there a good lesson in this for me? Is there something I can look at here and get it and get something from that I can really actually learn from? But all I see here is projection. So, and from what I understand about Q and the whole phenomenon, is that it is a consciousness and a group of people who are kind-hearted and want to help save humanity. And they have been putting out kind of cryptic messages to people for a while now, trying to prepare them for these times and trying to give them, they can time travel and everything. So they know a lot of things that are going to happen, and they've been predicting it just to show us that we can trust them, whoever Q is. So you can see how that's been completely twisted around to the opposite. Now, I just think we should all listen to our intuition, no matter what we see, because do I completely trust QAnon? No. I feel, for the most part, I feel like Q is definitely coming from a good-hearted place, though. And I do believe that there are benevolent, wonderful, beautiful extraterrestrials and other beings in consciousness that are here to help. And I really appreciate those that are pure of heart, that are trying to help. But I also know that just about everything is infiltrated right now, and just about everything has good and bad in it, and is a mix of messages. So I never just go to one camp and believe all of whatever that is, despite what they tell you on the news. It's not true. There are people with a brain like me who take all of it in and all the bits and pieces and just listen to our intuition in any particular minute, and just say, this I believe, that I don't, this I believe, that I don't, this I believe, that I don't. Throw this out, keep this, throw this out, keep this, that's what it's about. And I just keep praying, please God, just show me the truth in all things. That's all through the way. So I would not follow one particular person. I wouldn't follow one particular movement or any of it. So, but to see the truth in there is very important for us right now. So, and also there is I've always said that there is a possibility, there's always the good cop, bad cop thing. There's the possibility that this side is so extreme over here that it's driving everybody over to this side. And then these people are getting tricked too on their part. So I always keep that in mind. And I always try to keep like a good, neutral, open-hearted perspective. And honestly, our biggest protection right now and our clearest thinking is by being present in the moment. And like I said, I call it holding hands with God, because you are one with God, and God is able to give you very clear messages and help you stay in your heart and out of fear, no matter which camp is saying what. You're just going to be like, God, you tell me what to do right now. And these guys could wear a mask and act like the other person too. I mean, it can go so many different manipulative directions. If somebody's trying to trick you, they could pretend that they're on your side of the fence and then, do something. But so I just, I trust me, and I trust God, and I trust my intuition. That's about it. The rest is like, well, we'll see. We'll see. When a moment is in front of me, then I'll take a look at that moment and I'll see what that feels like. And I think we are all doing that, like learning to just trust our intuition. Okay. Yeah, there is no true accurate source, just one true accurate source. So, because everything to some degree is tainted, and I even bring my own personal experiences into things. I have my own biases. My own ego comes into play sometimes. So you guys can't even just rely on me as telling you everything. I wouldn't trust anything or anybody except for yourself, your own intuition, and God, being present in the moment. And that's your best protection, because when you're present in the moment, you are truly yourself and things just work out for you. Watch Americans in Action, that video I just did with Americans in Action. That's an important video. Everybody should know. All right. So now, now let's drop into our heart space again. Just let it all go. Let go all of the labels. Let go of all the different sides from all the different angles. Ama shishina tains. Sasai lakirina alkohamaan. Laki inta tanse. Shishina opohomaan. Kai kila san sitin. La pomama ala ki inda te he na shishin kai na ai. Hapena ai. Now it's natural and normal to feel tingles when I'm doing a light language blissing. Anything that gives you tingles like that is usually a good thing. Is usually like, especially if it warms your heart, if it makes you feel supported and loved and calm, then that's a good thing. Now, if I were saying something bad to you right now, your heart would be pounding and you'd be kind of having a fight or flight response, like probably scared. And, you should listen to that if that were the case, which I'm sure it's not. Because I'm coming from a place of love. And you know what? I actually am very grateful that person emailed me, because now I could share that with all of you, and hopefully this has saved somebody. So have yourselves a happy holiday season, and very, very gently have these conversations with a ton of grace with your friends and family. Try to get people to talk about things outside of the superficial chit chat and the stuff that everybody's agreeing with. Try to kind of stretch them. Try to get them to think outside the box a little bit, and you do so yourself, and you might actually, have some epiphanies and realizations that really help you to feel like, okay, this feels true for me. Now what? Okay, guys, much love to you and a big hug. Bye.